So this is physically what happens. It's a combination of a weak pelvic floor, the support system under the urethra and the bladder, combined with external physical pressure. We all have external pressure to the bladder as we live life. You know, when we're teenagers and we're cheerleaders and we're doing jumping jacks, nobody leaks in those situations. As we get older, we actually tend to do less, but we leak easier, and it's mostly because the tissue around the urethra and the bladder neck is weakened and it's looser, so it's more likely to bounce open, which I'm going to show you in just a second. So here's the anatomy. This is what I show my patients in the office. So I show the side picture here because the most important thing here is I want people to realize is that the vagina does not point to our heads, it points to our tailbones. So it's at an angle. The front wall of the urethra and the bladder are fixed to the pubic bone, so they're pretty solid. They're not going anywhere. The back wall of the urethra and the bladder are supported by the soft tissue, because we women in this room, we are designed to squeeze out bowling balls. Our bones are out here and all of this is soft tissue so that we can deliver babies. Well, that soft tissue gets softer as we get older. So what happens is, I'll put this down for just a second. So if my wrist or my hand is the urethra and my wrists are the bladder neck, what happens is you cough, laugh, sneeze, this wall stays put, the back wall gets pulled apart, urine squirts out. Okay, so that's what happens. Now when I examine a woman in the office, I'm looking at like this. You can see here the urethra is right here. Here's the under part of the urethra, the vagina is back here. So when I look, the most common thing that we see with stress incontinence is something called hypermobility of the urethra. It just means it moves. So what I see is it just bounces down. And that's the most common thing that we see, and it's because that tissue is not supported anymore. Sometimes women will leak while lying on their back with an empty bladder when I examine them, sometimes they don't. Believe it or not, that really does give me very useful information because we never completely empty our bladders. So if I examine a woman and she coughs and she does not leak, that usually tells me that her leak point pressure is above 100 centimeters of water pressure. That is important because the higher your leak point pressure is, the easier it is to fix you. I kind of jokingly say if the house is falling down, a coat of paint isn't going to fix it, okay? But so the higher it is, the better. One of my attendings used to say that a Mack truck could run over your pelvis and you should not leak. Your bladder would rupture, but it shouldn't leak because the support around the urethra should be the same as it is around the bladder.